night, Van Helsing unlocked the door of the mausoleum. Dr. Seward held the lantern until they had found the most recent addition to the shelves. It was marked with a brass plate, Lucy Western Ra. They moved into position where they could work on the lid, and deftly they worked it open. Seward, his face showing definite signs of discomfort, spoke mainly to hear the sound of his own voice. Lucy's corpse will be in here, of course. But Van Helsing didn't let him delude himself for long. I'm not sure, Dr. Seward. Let us look. Van Helsing tipped up the lid, and Dr. Seward shone his lantern down in it. Aha! Behold! Empty! Great God! While Seward recovered, the professor closed the lid in a bored, I told you so manner. But, protested Seward, of course, it's body snatchers. They sell corpses to the medical schools, as you and I both very well know. They took Lucy's remains. That must be the answer. But it's not, Herr Doctor. We will obtain the real evidence when she returns. In the bat-inhabited church belonging to the cemetery, the clock tolled midnight, then 1 and 2. The two men shivered in the night chill, but snapped erect when Van Helsing pointed to a smoky form moving through the trees. Seward, there, that white figure gliding towards the crypt. Good heavens, is it carrying a child? And again, by some means we didn't understand, the figure sensed the two trespassers and released the infant. Then it darted to the tomb entrance, and as it did, it turned its face towards the two men. See, it is Lucy, the bloofer lady, here to quickly examine the throat of the child. Racing to the youngster, the doctors immediately scrutinized her throat. No marks, thank heaven. We were in time. Yes, we were in time to interrupt Lucy's repast. Listen, here her coffin lid creaking shut. Night after night she has been slipping forth, preying on the blood of children. On September the 27th, Seward and Van Helsing pretended to be part of a funeral party at the church. Standing at the fringe of the crowd, Van Helsing pulled Seward away. This way, Seward. Nobody will notice we did not depart with the mourners. We'll be left locked in the graveyard. They re-entered Lucy's tomb and raised the lid of her coffin. Lucy. I believe it now, Van Helsing. But just what evil thing has she become? A vampire. They had walked away from the churchyard before they could speak again. So that was why you once asked to mutilate Lucy's body. Yes, and if Arthur had agreed before the funeral, she would not now be a walking undead. He must agree now, or she will go on ravaging children. On September the 28th, the grim and solemn meeting was called between Professor Van Helsing, Dr. Seward, Arthur Homewood, and Quincy Morris. God in heaven, said Arthur. Lucy, my beloved. Now a creature I thought existed only in superstitious tales. Tell me, Van Helsing, what can be done to stop her? That is the hardest part of all, Arthur. We must place a silver crucifix on her brow. Then we must drive a wooden stake through her heart and fill her mouth with garlic. Van Helsing patted Arthur's slumped shoulders in sympathy. But why must we kill Lucy twice? Because we who have studied the occult know that the undead are cursed with immortality unless the means I just described are used to bring them true death. Lucy became undead from not only her loss of blood, but from the fact that some of the blood of the vampire flowed into her veins. Now her victims could also become undead. Ever wider spirals the evil circle. So mark you well, Arthur, Lucy will carry on her hideous deeds for centuries if we don't release her. Then Be done with it as soon as possible. You've chosen wisely, Arthur. For with her second death, Lucy will know true repose and stay peacefully in her grave forever. At midnight, 4 men climbed the wall of the churchyard. Entering the tomb, they clustered around Lucy's coffin as Van Helsing pried open the lid with a crowbar. It was empty, of course. Lucy was out foraging for children. She was a delicate woman, and children were all that she dared attack. The professor removed his equipment. It included a silver crucifix, a sharp wooden stake, a heavy hammer, a long knife, and a sprig of wolf's bane. We have time to prepare for her return. She will never leave this coffin again, I promise you. Time passed with excruciating slowness for the anxious executioners. Finally, Lucy returned. Here she comes, with another child. Then Lucy began her nightly ritual. Sitting on a flat tombstone, she sank her teeth into the child's throat. Arthur, unable to believe and unable to bear the spectacle, rushed forward. Stop, Lucy, stop! Her head jerked up, eyes alert. Her foam-specked lips exposed sharp fangs, and fresh, warm blood dribbled down the corner of her mouth. Who dares interrupt me? My dear Lucy! Oh, Lord, what evil thing have you become? With lightning swiftness, her face changed, becoming the Lucy of innocence. Why, Arthur, my beloved, my betrothed husband. Lucy's formerly sweet voice once more flowed with honey. You have come to join your promised wife. She raised one hand to Arthur invitingly, while he stood with arms upraised before his face. Come, Arthur, leave the others, and come to me. Come. Van Helsing rushed up to Arthur, shouting his warning. She must not touch you, Arthur! He ran between them, holding up the silver crucifix, its bright surfaces reflecting the moonbeams. It seemed to flame in his hand. Lucy recoiled in fear. Dropping the child, she fled to her tomb. The men stared after her. Before their eyes, a startling phenomenon took place. Arthur broke the sudden silence. Incredible! She wafted herself through that solid door. The undead have many powers, Arthur. They can also turn into wolves and into bats at will. They paused for a moment's solemn reflection as seemed fitting to the surroundings and to the deed they were about to execute. Quincy, you take care of that poor child while the rest of us go in to finish. Following the preliminaries, Van Helsing picked up the stake and the hammer with distaste, but suddenly Arthur Holmwood seized them away. No, let me do it. Let me release my beloved Lucy from her horrible spell and give her eternal rest. You are brave, Arthur. So, now hold the stake in your left hand, place the point over her heart, and now, strike, Arthur, strike! Tortured young man slumped back and dropped the hammer from his hand. What have I done? What have I done? Come and see, Arthur. Come and see. Hesitantly, he peered down at Lucy, who had changed back to her former self, eyes now closed in peaceful death. That is the Lucy you knew, for she has now entered the true eternal sleep of the innocent. Thank God. Thank God. May her soul forever rest in peace. Van Helsing finished the ritual. Do not look, Arthur. Her head must be free of her body, and then her mouth must be stuffed with wolf's bane. The one who made her his undead victim can never repossess her body. Who is he? Who is the one who did this? Tell me, Van Helsing, I insist on knowing. Yes, and that is our next big task, to find the one who brought Lucy to this tragic fate. They closed the coffin and they gathered their tools. From Jonathan Harker's journal of his experiences in Transylvania, I know the name. It is Dracula.